Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down powerful stories and the big ideas they contain. Today, we're diving into a classic short story that poses one of the most difficult questions imaginable.
I mean, really think about that. Your sworn enemy is dying right in front of you. Do you save him? This is the impossible question at the heart of Pearl S. Buck's story, The Enemy. It forces a doctor to choose between his country and his conscience during a brutal war. So to see how he answers, we first have to understand the world he's living in.
To really feel the full weight of this dilemma, we have to step back in time and into his world. Okay, so we are smack in the middle of World War II, a really bitter and intense conflict between America and Japan. But the author, Pearl S. Buck, she brings a pretty unique perspective to all this. You see, she was an American, but she spent most of her life growing up in China. And because of that, she developed this deep belief that our shared humanity is just, well, it's more important than any lines we draw on a map. And right at the center of this whole storm is one man, Dr. Sadao Hoki.
Now, Dr. Sadao isn't just any doctor. We're talking about a brilliant surgeon and scientist, a true patriot whose skills are so vital to Japan, especially to this one powerful, aging general who trusts no one else, that he's actually been kept home from the front lines. So picture this. One evening, Sadao and his wife Hana are just looking out at the sea when suddenly a figure stumbles out of the mist. They rush down to the beach and they find a white man, badly wounded. A quick look at his tattered cap confirms their absolute worst fear. He's an American sailor, a prisoner of war. Their sworn enemy is bleeding out on their doorstep. What do you even do?
And in that single moment, Dr. Sadao's entire world just splits right down the middle.
He is suddenly caught between two warring identities. On the one hand, he's a doctor. He's taken an oath to save any life. It doesn't matter who it is. But on the other hand, he's a patriotic Japanese citizen, and his duty is to turn this man over to the authorities, which, let's be real, would be a certain death sentence. And this right here, this is the turning point. As Sadao stares at the helpless man, his medical training, his core humanity, it just starts to take over. The enemy soldier fades away and all he sees is a patient, a person in desperate need of help. So Sadao and Hana, they make the fateful choice to bring the man inside, and that decision immediately brings the war right into their home. You can see the conflict play out right here. Their educated humanitarian view clashes hard with their servants, who are nationalistic and just plain terrified. And that fear boils over when the maid, Yumi, flatly refuses to wash a white man, revealing just how deep the prejudices of war can run. So with his household in turmoil and an enemy under his roof, Sadao makes a decision that is going to change absolutely everything. Pushing aside all that fear of being discovered, of being called a traitor, Sadao does what he was trained to do. He performs a very difficult surgery with incredible precision and skill, pulling a bullet from near the man's kidney. He saves his patient's life, and in doing so, he saves his enemy. But he's racked with guilt and fear, so Sadao confesses everything to the old general. But the general, while he's way more concerned with his own health than with national security, he needs Sadao alive. So instead of punishment, he offers this really chilling solution. He'll send his own private assassins to the house to kill the Americans silently and get rid of the body. Problem solved. For 3 nights, Sadao is just tormented. He leaves the doors unlocked, listening for the slightest sound, a rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig, anything that might signal the assassin's arrival. But they never come. The general, in his own self-absorption, has completely forgotten. And Sadao realizes he is truly on his own. So having saved the man's life as a doctor, Sadao now resolves to save him again, this time as a man. He comes up with his meticulous escape plan. First, he gives the American his own boat. Then he stocks it with everything he'll need: food, water, quilts. The instructions are crystal clear. Row to that nearby island, wait for a Korean fishing boat, and use a flashlight to signal if your supplies run out. The risk he's taking here is just enormous, planned out to the very last detail. And it's this final, risky act that really reveals the story's most powerful message. Sadao watches the shore for a signal that the man needs more supplies, but the light never flashes. The escape is a success. And instead of feeling fear or even relief from danger, Sadao is filled with this deep, profound peace. The war inside his own head is finally over. You see, Sadao's journey reveals this timeless, universal truth. The story is arguing that our shared human values, compassion, empathy, that instinct to heal, are ultimately more powerful than the narrow divisions of nationalism or race or war. In the end, Sadao looks out at the sea and just wonders, why did I do it? He recalls all the prejudice he faced in America, but also, crucially, the kindness. He remembers his anatomy professor, his landlady who nursed him through the flu. He realizes his actions weren't for this one man, but were an expression of a deeper humanity and gratitude that had been instilled in him, overriding the hatred of war. You know, the American prisoner himself says something that just cuts right to the heart of the matter. He tells Sadao, I guess if all the Japs were like you, there wouldn't have been a war. And that single line suggests that war is sustained by generalization, by prejudice, but it can be dismantled by individual acts of compassion. Ultimately, the enemy doesn't just tell a story, it asks us a question that echoes from the battlefields of World War II all the way to the conflicts of today. When our loyalty to a flag and our duty to a fellow human being are in conflict, the choice we make might just be the one that defines who we truly are.